Okay, here's where I'm at with this. And remember, this is basically how I'd be doing these things in that situation with the moose that I was talking about. So I went ahead and did a little bit more to this, and I didn't film it because it's kind of time consuming and slow. But what I've got here now is I worked into this socket joint that I showed you, got it loose, came around through here. You can kind of see there's a muscle seam there. So I worked my way through that, right back to the hip bone over here, boned around that, and then all the way down. So what we have now is the hip here is loose. And the leg could now be turned over, and you could start boning it out. You'd want to do that like this, working your knife along the bone. Again, this meat's pretty frozen, so it's kind of tough to work with, but you get the idea. Once you had it loose, you can start boning this out. You can go all the way down to the end through the shank here and get all that meat loose, and then you can start breaking it down into larger pieces that are whole muscle and are going to stay together for you. Okay, let's just take one more quick look at this back leg. So once you got it to the point where you've worked the bone loose like I have here, you get that bone out of there, and you open it up, and it becomes pretty obvious where you're going to separate this out. Just start getting into those seams. Doesn't matter which muscle's what. If you're just doing this for yourself or out in the bush, just do the best you can. Try not to dig into the meat too much and separate it out. Keep the muscles nice and big. Get some good roasts and steaks out of that, and some stew or jerky or whatever, depending on where you are and what you need from it. So that's about all there is to that, and that's all I'm going to show you the back leg, I think. But that would solve a lot of your problems if you're in a situation like I was, because now you could grab the other side leg and you'd have leverage still, and a lot of the weight would be gone. You might be able to turn it or get it loose from where it was and get that gut pile out of there and start processing further. Well, I had to get to work and get this thing done. The person's coming to get it, my friend's coming to get it fairly soon, so that was about all I could do for the moose scenario there, but got you started anyways. It wasn't really ever about how to butcher, it was just dealing with that specific situation. But anyways, I had one more thing that I want to show you. If you're a hunter, this is something I think people should do more often. People are kind of afraid of the bones in wild game. They think it's going to sour their meat or just not taste right if they leave a bone in, and it's easier to bone a thing out. But there is one cut in particular, especially now in the winter, that I think a person should take advantage of. And you can do this easily at home, rather than just taking this piece right here, which is the shank, or it's basically your shin, like your calf on yourself, and boning it out and using it for hamburger. It's not very good for that because it's full of gristle, lots of tendons and stuff running through here. But if you do something else with it, this can be one of the most energy-filled meat food sources on this entire animal. So what you do is you cut down the bone, all the way around, and then again about 2 inches away. There you go. And out comes the saw. So what you have here now is a piece called crosscut shank. I have my tool here to clean that up. This is kind of a slow cooking piece, but you just take that, if you're out in the woods, you do it in like a Dutch oven or something like that. Give it some time to simmer down, let the marrow come out of the bone. You're making the most out of that, and believe it or not, it'll be one of the most tender pieces if you give it time to do its thing. I just hate to see all these bones wind up out in the bush being wasted, which is what tends to happen around here. So, well, I guess that's about it. This project is behind me. Thanks for watching.